Shalom, shalom. Not sure if you can hear me or not. If you can hear me, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. Let me check my headphones. Put a 1 inside of the chat if you can hear me. I don't know. I can't really. I can't tell if I can be heard or not. Okay, come on. Shalom, 1 second. Shalom, 1 second.
Shalom, shalom, Lord. Good.
Shalom. Trying to get my headphones in order, man. I can't hear anything, so I'm having a. That's why I'm asking everybody if they can hear me. Let me see what's going on.
All right.
Say something, Noah.
Shalom, shalom, everybody. Is anybody in the chat? Put your ones up if you're in the chat. Y'all can hear
Give me 1 second.
Put your ones in the chat.
Let me see if I can hear you, Noah.
Put your ones in the chat if you can hear us. Put your ones in the chat. You can hear me?
I don't know what's going on. I'm having a hard time hearing anyone. Gotta figure this out.
Is that on your phone?
Let me figure this out before we move forward because I can't hear. So let me check this microphone. 1 second.
You might have to leave out and come back in.
Now, let me hear you, bro.
Shalom, shalom.
Con, I think I'm good now.
You good now?
God, I gotta just get this. I gotta get this dog from down here because she's making all kind of noise. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you got a little delay too. Shalom, everybody. If you can put ones in the chat, I think y'all gonna enjoy this class tonight. Can y'all see us? Can y'all hear us? What's happening?
Shalom, shalom. This is AOC Wednesday night lesson. I am Ambassador Zion. Introduce yourself, Sergeant.
Hey, Salakia. My name is Nawa Wakar, AOC, Grand Rapids. That's it.
God, I got a couple of websites. How's your internet access going, man? Are you able to pull up websites that I may need?
Websites, I don't know. I don't know about websites.
All right, kind, because I got to pull up a few things, but what I would say is, Salaki, for the delay, I was trying to get the tabs pulled up before we even started the lesson. But we just gonna move forward. Tonight's lesson is science is in the Bible, and that science proves the Bible to be correct, and the Bible proves science to be incorrect. So I want everybody, once you get a chance, try to share this page so that people can, people that can know that we're live. The ones that are following and the ones that are not following, so they could come in and hear this lesson and try to get some understanding on. We face a lot of people that build off of what we call science. Science, when you go into the etymology of the word science, matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get the etymology of the word science. Because a lot of people think that science is factual knowledge, something that's a fact. But when you actually go into science, everything is always a hypothesis, which is an educated guess or a theory, something that someone presumes. It's never any factual information that proves anything. It's just the study that they rehearse over and over and over and observe certain things to see if the same thing occurs. So can you get the definition of science?
Con, I don't want. Con. This is the definition of science. Epistemology. All right. It says, what is known, knowledge of something acquired by study, information, also assurance of knowledge, certitude, certainty, from old French science, knowledge, learning, application, corpus of human knowledge, from Latin scientia, knowledge, a knowing expertness, from science, genitive, scientist, intelligence.
You can start right there.
Okay.
Start right there. So basically what we need is the etymology of the word science means what's known or what's knowledge. Now you have most Darwin theorists. The earth is billions of years old, that the Big Bang theory, like I said, it's the Big Bang theory. It's not a fact. They'll live by the Big Bang theory and other false ideologies instead of just submitting to the truth and one power, the Most High power, Yah. They would go all around it. They'll even submit to alien life form, but they still won't even say where these alien life forms even originate or where they come from. If you ask them where those aliens come from, they'll tell you where it had to be another alien life in another universe, alien life, and you keep going and going and going. It don't matter how far back you go, you're gonna end up at the Most High God. So even if you was to subscribe to that understanding or that knowledge, it's all gonna go back to the Most High God. When you go back to the Darwin theory of the Big Bang, okay, they say that different elements ended up coming together, causing a Big Bang and creating the universe and the planets. Okay, so where did those elements come from? Well, what caused those elements to come together and explode?
Right.
You have to ask those questions. So no matter how far back you want to go with it, it's still going to end up in the same place, which is the Most High power God.
Yep.
Yahweh. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, something had to begin it.
Time. So if science is a known study or something that we know, how come it's always a theory? Why is it always an educated guess? Even when you go to the doctor's office today, the doctors, they have practices. They should have perfected it by now. But right now, you still have a doctor's practice. He's only practicing. He's practicing by doing the same thing over and over and over and hoping that the same results come. So if you go to the doctor, let's say for a sprained ankle, or let's say you got an ear infection, what are they going to do? They're going to prescribe you antibiotics because antibiotics are known to clear up infections. So they're going to prescribe you the same thing that they prescribe millions and millions of other patients, and then wait to see whether you have the same results as all these other people. So it's just a practice. It's not a fact, because you all know that even if you may have an ailment, you may have a toothache, an earache, whatever it may be, and they'll prescribe you a lower dosage of amoxicillin, and then you will come back a week later and say, hey, I'm still having problems, and then they'll up the dosage to a different level of amoxicillin or penicillin or whatever type of medication that they're going to prescribe you. So it's just a practice. It's not a fact. Because it will give you something the very first time and then the result. So what I want to say, go to Leviticus 17 and 14. Salah, give me 1 second. Salah. But one thing that I really want to focus on right here is there's a scientific law that's in the Latin. The way you pronounce it is ex nihilo nihil fit. Ex nihilo nihil fit. That is a scientific fact, which means nothing from nothing, nothing comes from it. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's a law.
Right.
The thing that there's a big bang, elements came together, it caused an explosion, all of a sudden, boom, now you got order out of chaos. Because an explosion is chaotic. So how in the world can you ever try to achieve order from chaos?
Right.
Ex nihilo nihil fit. Nothing leaves nothing. But give me Leviticus 17 and 14 out of one.
Count out of one. This is Leviticus chapter 17, verse 14. For it is the life of all flesh. The blood of it is for the little, Salakia. The blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh. For the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off.
So right here, this just seems like a normal commandment which says that you shouldn't eat your meat rare, or you shouldn't eat your meat raw. Right. But it's a lot more inside of these words. It's a lot more inside of these words, because these commandments are scientific. Scientific. All you got to do is look into it. And the Most High, through Moses, gave us this scientific fact about the blood. I want you to read that one more time. Leviticus 17 and 14.
Count on one. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 17, verse 14. For it is the life of all flesh. The blood of it is for the life thereof.
Stop Therefore, right there. Stop right there. That little small section is the scientific evidence that Moses gave us by way of the Most High. It is the life that's in the blood. All you got to do is think about it. When we go to the doctor, we go to the physician just for a mere checkup. What's the first thing, or one of the first things they do after they give you a questionnaire and they ask you about your medical history and go over and ask you whether you're ailing or things of that nature? What do? They draw blood from you. Why do they draw blood from you? Because the life or the condition of your livelihood is measured through your blood. They can take your blood sample and they can see whether you having kidney issues, whether you have a virus living in your system, whether you have diabetes, whether you have problems with your thyroids, so on and so forth. So they can tell what status or what condition your livelihood is in through the blood.
All right.
So science is in the Bible. The science is in the Bible. When we go out and we speak to different people and they want to talk about, well, you have a belief system, I believe in science. Well, science is in the Bible. Science is in the Bible throughout the commandments, throughout the Old Testament, the so-called New Testament. It's all scientific. All of it.
Yep, dietary law, stuff like that.
The dietary law, right? Because when you eat oats, what usually happens? You end up getting sick from it. Through pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. A lot of people down south eat coon and all type of crazy stuff. And what do they ail from? They end up with gout, hypertension, high blood pressure. So the science is in the Bible. We just have to look at it for what it is. A lot of people try to connect our book to a religious book, but it's not a religious book. It has absolutely nothing to do with religion.
It's about life, right?
Kind of the one. It's a living book.
Mm-hmm.
It was written thousands of years ago, and everything in it applies to us today. No matter what the circumstance, the situation, everything comes down to how we're supposed to live, what we're supposed to do, and what we're not supposed to do in order to live better. Okay?
Morally, yep. Done.
So when Moses gave us this info thousands of years ago, when you think about it, we are just recently giving blood transfusions in order to help certain people get over certain ailments and whatnot. But it's only been maybe 100 years, maybe even less, that they just stopped bloodletting. Does anyone know what bloodletting is? If you know what bloodletting is, put it in the chat.
Yeah, let's see if they answered, Armand.
Let's see if they answer.
Come on. Somebody got to know. Give it a shot. Anybody can just give it a shot.
Give it a shot. What is bloodletting?
You don't have to be
familiar with it.
You know what I'm saying? Just give it a shot.
So what I'm gonna do, since I don't see the chat moving, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give it to you. We all know back not that very long ago that when certain people would come into the doctor's office and they would have certain ailments, whether it be the flu, whether it be whether it be any type of ailment that they were facing, the doctors, the so-called Edomite doctors, they didn't have a clue, man. So what would they do? They would take snails, they would take bloodsuckers, they would put you in a pool, and they would allow the snails and the bloodsuckers to suck all of the blood or suck blood from you. Or if not, they would take the needle and they would drain blood from you, because they say, well, whatever is inside of you, it's in your bloodstream. So if it's bad, we have to take that blood out of you.
Yeah.
And do you know how many thousands of people from that procedure? So it's not about taking the blood out of you, because that's going to cause death, but the observation of the is what's going to determine what has to be done in order for you to live. Esau is not that smart. Esau is not that smart. We give him way too much credit. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand that Esau just recently, I would say, I don't even know if it's been 100 years. Do you know that just recently he just discovered that he had to wash his hands, surgical procedures? Do y'all understand that? Which is also a law in the Bible, that you're supposed to cleanse yourself through running water. And if you go back and look at some of these old cowboy movies and whatnot, and you would see how the doctor would come and visit you, and they would have a bowl of water just sitting on the table, and the doctor would just put his hands in the water and rinse his hands in the bowl of water. But he's contaminating and recontaminating himself every time he's dipping his hand. They just now realized the fact, because they started having cesarean sections for women. And the majority of them were very, very unsuccessful. And they didn't understand why. Either the child would die and the mother would live, or the mother would die and the child would live. And they would die from bacterial infection, and they didn't understand what was going on. And guess who had to show them that you have to wash your hands with the water running off and draining? You can't put water in a bowl and wash your hands. The water has to be running, which is also science in the Bible. I don't want to give me Leviticus 17 and 11. Read that.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 17, verse 11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul.
So the life is in the blood. Once again, science is in the Bible. So let's move on. Give me Deuteronomy 23. I want you to start at verse 12. Give me 12 and 13. Deuteronomy 23, 12 and 13. I'll try to find this article while you get that.
God, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 12. Thou shalt have a place also without the camp, whither thou shalt go forth abroad, and thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon, and it shall be, when thou wilt ease thyself abroad, thou shalt dig therewith, and shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from thee.
So what is this talking about? No, stop right there. Where'd you stop at, 12 or 13?
13.
Come on, stop right there. So what is this talking about? Read that one more time, out of one.
Count on one. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 12. Thou shalt have a place also without the camp, whither thou shalt go forth abroad, and thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon. And it shall be, when thou wilt ease thyself abroad, thou shalt dig therewith, and shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from thee.
So what is this talking about? This is talking about basically relieving yourself. This is talking about using the bathroom. At this time, you got to remember that we were coming out of Egypt. So we were in the wilderness. So of course you eat food, you drink liquids, you have to relieve yourself. So this is a law Moses gave to the Israelites to give instruction on where and how to relieve themselves. Basically, it's telling you that when you relieve yourself, you're supposed to prepare a place for you to relieve yourself outside of the camp. You dig a hole into the ground, you relieve yourself, and then you cover it up. So what is this scientifically? This scientifically is a sanitation system. This is sanitation. Just look at it today. What do? We have a system underground where once you use the broom, it goes underground. And this is what the Most High God gave the children of Israel thousands of years ago, telling us to, once we relieve ourselves, you put it underground and you cover it up. So the sanitation system that we have today, where do you think it came from? The origin of the knowledge comes from the Bible, our book.
That's right.
So science is in the Bible. We just have to look at it for what it is. What does Proverb 1 said? I believe it's 22 says, oh, ye simple ones, how long will you love simplicity? Because a lot of people are simple. A lot of people want to take the fact that just because, you know, you don't give them E equals MC squared, that it don't equate to science. But everybody know Moses himself, when he was chosen to deliver the children of Israel out of Egypt, one of his issues was he was a very plain spoken man. He didn't feel like he was eloquent with his speech.
That's right.
That's why when you look at Deuteronomy, you look at Leviticus, it's very, very plain and simple. He doesn't go into a lot of explanation of why this, why that. He just say, thou shalt not. Do this, don't do that. Mm-hmm. And this is what he was saying. When you go into the 1800s, there was a plague in Europe called, what's it called? Cholera. I believe it was around in the 1830s. In Europe, it was cholera that was going around, which if you go forward in certain areas of the day, it would kind of equate to Ebola. So where does Ebola and cholera come from? It comes from fecal matter, the overwhelming abundance of fecal matter. So as you know, the Israelites, we had to inject or to create a sanitation system in parts of Europe because Esau so filthy, they would use it inside of a bucket and they would just dump it outside onto the sidewalk.
Salaki, I don't want.
Go ahead, King.
But before that, when they was inside those caves, where do you think they used the bathroom at?
Right there where they laid at.
Right where they laid at. Dogs, everything. It was there. The caves was filthy. That's why you see it today. A lot of their homes, everybody think they're, Esau is a clean person. Yeah, they clean if they got somebody to serve them. But by themselves, if you go by their home, I'm a mailman. So I know I see it all day long. It smells horrible. They let their dogs, they let their cats manure everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere. Excuse my French, but it's all over the place.
That's a fact.
Coming into their homes and all that, they let them use the bathroom right in front of their house. Then all that smell go right into their home. They don't go way out somewhere. It be right there in the yard. I have to maneuver around that. It's crazy. See, we clean people. We always been like that. We always been like that.
Hey, to be honest, like I know, we just now started allowing dogs in the house. You listen, man. Right. When I was a child or a teen, we never had dogs in the house. The dog was in the backyard. He was chained up in the backyard. He wasn't in the house.
Exactly.
We just started doing that.
Get in the house, get up in there. You know what I'm saying? Give him a little dog house. Hey, that's where you lay. You ain't coming up in the crib.
just like you run across these different nations. I do as well, because you know I do repairs and maintenance. So when I go to these people's houses, I'm gonna tell you, some of these Elamites, these East Indians, Moab, Ammon, and the majority of them that I go into their home, they're so-called doctors. You go listen. I've had to tell these people on multiple occasions, you got to clean up before I come in here and fix this sink. I'm not working in here under these conditions. They are filthy people.
Man.
They're filthy people.
Mm-hmm.
You will be shocked at the filth.
Yeah, man.
And the way that they live, and as I said before, majority of them are physicians. They're doctors. And they're nasty people.
Let me say this one last thing. Like, if you go out to the country and you see where the Edom lives, Esau lives, right? You see it's filthy out there. They got cars all in the, you know what I'm saying? They got stuff hanging all over the place. It's just nasty. Broken down this, broken down that. But they tell us that the property value goes down when we come into the neighborhood. When we have money and things like that, we keep our areas clean, man. We try to keep up and make things look beautiful more than anybody. It's crazy.
That's a fact.
Yep.
So I want you to read Deuteronomy 23, 12, and 13 one more time.
Canada one. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12. Chapter 23, verse 12. Thou shalt have a place also without the camp, whither thou shalt go forth abroad, and thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon. And it shall be, when thou wilt ease thyself abroad, thou shalt dig therewith, and shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from thee.
So when you have to ease yourself, you should have a paddle on you. You go with outside of the camp, you dig a hole, you ease yourself, and you cover it up. This is a sanitation system. So once again, science is in the Bible. Let's move forward. Give me Numbers chapter 19. Numbers 19, and start at verse 11.
And Adawan, what they say, godliness is cleanliness. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
19,
we're going to start at verse 11.
Numbers 19 and 11.
Canada one.
This is the book and chapter of Numbers, the 19th chapter, verse 11. He that toucheth the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he shall be clean. But if he purified not himself the 3rd day, then the 7th day he shall not be clean. Keep going.
Read on.
Whosoever
go to 14.
Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead, and purifieth not himself, defileth the tabernacle of the Elohim, and that soul shall be cut off from Yasha'Allah, because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him. He shall be unclean. His uncleanness is yet upon him.
Stop right there 1 second. It says that because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him, he shall be unclean. His cleanness is yet upon him. I want y'all to keep that in mind. Read verse 14.
Canada one. The book of Numbers, chapter 19, verse 14. This is the law. When a man dieth in a tent, all that come into the tent and all that is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days.
Stop right there. So what is this talking about? This is talking about if you come across a dead body or you come across anything that's defiled and you just so happen to touch it, that thing makes you unclean. But right here, it gives us a solution in verse 13, which says, because the water of separation has not been sprinkled upon him. So let's get what the water of separation is. Give me, let's jump up to, we stand in the same chapter. We're going to jump up to verse 5. We're going to read verse 5. Start at verse 5. Numbers 19, verse 5.
It's the book of Numbers, chapter 19, verse 5. And one shall burn the heifer. Salaki. And one shall burn the heifer in his sight, her skin and her flesh and her blood with her dung shall he burn.
Read on.
And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer.
Read the verse 9.
Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water, and afterward he shall come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean until the evening.
Stop
and
right there. Stop right there. So right here, it's telling you that you should burn the heifer. What is a heifer? A heifer is a cow. So you should burn the skin and the flesh and her blood and her dung, right? And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet and cast it in the midst of the burning of the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water. So I wanted you to pay attention when we was at verse 13, when it was telling you about the water that you had to be sprinkled in order for you to become clean. This is the water that they're telling you you had to be sprinkled in verse 13. So I want you to read verse 8 and verse 9.
Ghana one. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 19, verse 8. And he that burneth her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water, and shall be unclean until the evening. Verse 9. And a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and lay them up without the camp in a clean place, and it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel, for a water of separation. It is a purification for sin.
So this is a water of separation, purification. This is what you have to be washed in if you come across a dead body or a carcass or anything, you just so happen to touch it. You may have
He got knocked out. Hey, Salakia, gotta let him come back in.
Salaki, I got kicked out.
Yeah, good now.
But this is the water of separation right here that you would have to be bathed in. This is not just regular water. It gives you the ingredients of what has to be inside of this water in order to make it a purification or separation water. It's not just the regular water that's in the stream. So what is this? This is the science of sterilization. This is sterilization right here. The Most High gave us this thousands of years ago. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through the ingredients that Moses had gave to the children of Israel, and what had to be done in order for us to be purified, or in order for us to become clean. If we end up touching a carcass or someone unclean. Numbers 19, verse 5. One shall burn the heifer in his sight. Her skin and her flesh, her blood and her dung shall burn. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet and cast it in the midst of the burning heifer. So, I need you to see if you can look this up, King. This is the recipe for making ash soap. So if you could, I want you to Google it. I just want you to Google the ingredients of ash soap and how to make it. Because right here, thousands of years ago, the science is in the Bible. All we have to do is take our time. We can't read this book like it's a sports magazine. We can't read this book like it's I don't know. Most people don't even have or read magazines anymore. Everything's online. But when I grew up, there were different types of magazines that you would have in subscription that would come to your house and that you would just go through and read these things. But right here, this is the recipe for a soap of separation or sterilization. How to make wood ash soap. Read that, Adawan. What's the ingredients? How do you make ash soap?
Okay, Adawan. Lock it. Let me go to the ingredients. Hold on. Let me go back. It has it there. All right. Right here it says how to make soap. All right. Warm up 2 cups of grease in a small pan on low heat.
Stop right there. This grease. Where's this grease coming from? Numbers 19, verse 5. One shall burn a heifer. We all know that when we cook beef, you don't have to add oil because it's going to produce its own.
My man.
You see that?
God.
So this is the grease. This is the oil. This cow and the skin and the flesh and the blood and her dung. So that's the oil. Read on, I don't want.
Adawan. Warm up 2 cups of grease in a small pan on low heat. Pour 1 cup grease into stainless steel soap making box. Okay. It says slowly add your 3/8 cup concentrated brown lye.
Lye, right?
Right.
That's something new, but that's something that also will come from ash. Read on.
Brown lye and brown lye water and stir for 3 minutes. Add another cup of grease, another 3/8 cup of lye water, and stir for 15 minutes. Right?
Right. Read on.
Okay, hold on.
See, I don't even know the website you pulled up, but the fact of the matter is, it's the exact same ingredients that we were given in the Bible in the book of Numbers. You take this grease, you take water. Then, as the Most High said, he's going to take wood and hyssop, and you're going to throw it in the midst of the burning, and it's going to become ash. The oil is what's going to make it combine as a solid piece of soap.
Let me read this real quick. Hold on.
Go ahead, Lord.
It says how to make lye from ashes. From ashes, right? To make concentrated lye water, you need to pour rainwater.
That's right.
Through cold ashes. Hardwoods are best. You need a plastic bucket or a clay flower pot. Clay is used all the time. Clay is a substance that's used, you know, today. You know what I'm saying? It's used all the time. You got clay everywhere. There's clay everywhere. So a clay flower pot with a hole in the bottom. Cover the hole with a layer of pine needles. Pine needles, that's another natural thing you use for this, right? To keep the ashes from falling straight through. So, come on, man.
Just like
That's
you
all
said.
science. That's all science.
It's all science. Like you say, hardwood, right? In the Bible, it tells you to take cedar. Cedar is a hard wood. That's why That's why they build homes with cedar.
Done.
The science is in the Bible. Science is in the Bible.
Cedar trees. Man, come on.
Out of one. So let's go. Let's drop down to let me see, 17. Let's read 17 through 22. Numbers 19, 17 through 22.
Numbers 19, verse 17. And for an unclean person, they shall take of the ashes of the burnt heifer of purification for sin, and running water shall he put thereto in a vessel. Verse 18. And a clean person shall take hyssop and dip it in the water and sprinkle it upon the tent and upon all the vessels and upon the persons that were there, and upon him that touched a bone or one slain or one dead or a grave. Right.
Read to 21. Just read to 21.
Can I just interact right quick? My phone.
Go ahead, Lord. Expound on it.
You know, the so-called Indians, right? The Indians knew all about these different types of things. How to survive, you know what I mean? How to keep yourself clean and things like that. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? You can go back in history and look at this. That the so-called Native Americans were, you know, they dealt with the animals and took from the animals and used the animals as many different things. And this is right here. This what goes into it right here. You know what I'm saying? Using the animal for so many different things. You know what I'm saying? Cleanliness and to protect yourself and all different types of things to cover yourself. You know what I'm saying? Using every bit and part of the animal to survive. And today they're using the same thing. They're using it. You know? So it's insane how they think the so-called Native Americans are not truly Israel. I don't mean to go off subject, but that's true. That's real right there. You know? And it says, and a clean person shall take hyssop and dip it in the water and sprinkle it upon the tent and upon all the vessels and upon the persons that were there and upon him that touched a bone or one slain or one dead or a grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the third day and on the seventh day. And on the seventh day he shall purify himself and wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and shall be clean at even. And the man that shall be unclean and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from among the congregation, because he hath defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of separation have not been sprinkled upon him. He is unclean, and shall be perpetual statute unto them. And he that sprinkleth the water of separation shall wash his clothes. And he that toucheth the water of separation shall be unclean until even. And whatsoever the unclean person toucheth shall be unclean. And the soul that toucheth it shall be unclean until even.
So right there, what is this? This is sterilization. Once again, this is sterilization. This is in the Bible. This is science. That's in the Bible.
Great.
Something else, huh?
Great.
Give me Deuteronomy 4 and 6 real quick.
It's amazing how they think science is not in here. You know, that just it don't make any sense.
They just hate the Most High, man, and they hate His word.
It's that they don't even try to study though. You know what I'm saying? They don't try to read the book. They just go against it because everybody else goes against it. You know what I mean? It's just I don't understand. Most people are afraid to come out of their comfort zone. You know, because you got to understand that the things that we present, what the Bible really says, and we go into the etymology of different words, we go into the background, we go into the languages, and when we present the evidence, it's uncomfortable because our people have been taught the religion of Christianity for so long. Christianity is comfort food. God.
You see what I'm saying? But the scripture tell you that when you eat the Torah, it's going to be sweet as honey, but it's going to make your belly bitter.
Mm-hmm.
So they become uncomfortable because everything that they were taught end up being tested and knocked down.
Yeah.
You know, it's something else when, you know, you're telling them what mama taught you was wrong. What granddaddy, who had his church in the South, what he preached on Sunday was wrong.
Right.
You understand? So it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, I was speaking to Paradizar earlier on the same point, and you got to understand one of the major reasons a lot of these women, especially Jake, is going down to the Dominican Republic, spending $5,000, $4,000 to get reconstructive surgery. Is because going to the gym is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to get up and be disciplined and go to the gym and do those leg squats, do those duck walks, do those kickbacks in order to make your body more muscular and more solid, and to take the fat off, to get on the treadmill, to get on the elliptical. That's uncomfortable.
God, what they say about, you know, when you train, you know, what's the saying they say when you train? Man, I can't think of it. It's now I cannot think of it, man. It's like when you train hard, you know what I'm saying? It's a difficult task. You know what I'm saying? That's a difficult task that people don't like change. Like you was just saying, they comfortable where they at. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable where I'm at. Even if it's evil or not, I'm straight. I'm comfortable right here. So I'm not gonna try to change myself because I'm good, just like people on welfare. I'm good right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm straight right here. They paying me up straight. I ain't trying to improve myself or nothing. I'm gonna stay right here.
That's right. My rent $13. I got medical, I got food, I got a clothing voucher, and they pay my electricity. I'm good. You understand what I'm saying? So it's hard for Jake to come out of his comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just think about in the book of Exodus, how we were murmuring in the wilderness because we were comfortable in captivity in Egypt.
Right.
You understand? We were comfortable there. That's why they were always murmuring, say, you will bring us out here into the wilderness to die. You know, we eating this manna every day.
Right.
When in Egypt, we had fish, we had vegetables, we had fruit. You understand?
Right.
But they were comfortable in captivity.
Right. Instead of knowing
forefathers,
instead of understanding that you out of that situation, brother. You out of that situation. Even though this over here may not be what you used to and what your liking is, but guess what? I'm out of this situation. It's a beautiful thing that I'm away from that. Nobody's over me. Most likely pull me out of it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, my brothers put it in the chat. No pain, no gain. That's what I was looking for. No pain, no gain. That's what you know.
Exactly. No
Yeah.
pain, no gain.
No pain,
Right.
no gain.
So this is the science of sterilization in the Bible. The science is in the Bible. Let's move forward. Give me Leviticus 12 and read verse 3. Baba Kasha.
Another one. It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 12, verse 3. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. And
so, Shalak, in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. Read on, King. Start over, Shalak. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, another one. This is Leviticus chapter 12, verse 3. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days. She shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary, until the days of her purifying be fulfilled.
God, stop right there. So I don't want to necessarily go into the purification of the mother, but what I want to do is I just want to stick with the 8th day. The 8th day, Moses commanded the children of Israel to circumcise the male child on the 8th day.
That's right.
And I'm trying to find this article to give the explanation.
It's like,
go ahead, King. My internet is acting up. It's very, very slow. Bear with me, Baba Kasha. So basically, when a male child is born, Moses had given the children of Israel the commandment that you wait 8 days until you circumcise the male child. And there's a science behind that. I'm trying to find this article because I want to read that in order to segue into the reasons why. But my internet is not.
What you looking for, other one?
There's a website called bellybelly.com.
Belly belly?
It's a pregnancy it's a pregnancy and a website for women that are having children. It gives them a lot of information on what to expect, preterm birth, what they should eat, how to prevent premature birth. It's a lot of good information on here for pregnant mothers. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get circumcision. And I want to go into the modern science of why the male child is circumcised on the 8th day. But for some reason, like I said, my internet is not working. I should have printed these articles out before we started, Baba Kasha. But what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna prolong the lesson. I'm just gonna give the answer. The answer is because Khan out of one, Khan Karajazai, he just gave the answer. It takes 8 days for vitamin K to spike inside of the male child because it takes at least 8 days of feeding the child for the bacteria to increase inside of the intestinal walls, which would create vitamin K that will also allow blood to clot or to scab. Because if you circumcise the male child before that, right, you're liable to kill him because he'll bleed to death. So Moses say, wait until the 8th day to circumcise the male child. That's science in the Bible right there.
Wow.
But nowadays, doctors know this information, so therefore they will say that it's a an immunization shot, but really what it is that they're injecting vitamin K into your son on the first day in order for them to perform the cesarean section, not the cesarean, Salakia, the circumcision earlier than the 8th day. So this is science in the Bible. The 8th day that Moses gave to the children of Israel before they circumcised their sons is scientific evidence that if you do it pre-8 days, that you're liable to kill the child, because the child will bleed out, because the blood cannot clot at that point. It cannot scab at that point because vitamin K has to spike in order for the child's blood to form into a clot or a scab.
Bring it up.
So once again, the science is in the Bible.
And you know what, Shalaki, I don't want, you know, the things that you're bringing out right now, people don't understand that Israelites study too. You know what I'm saying?
God.
We study. Kemet, you know what I'm saying? They think we don't study at all. They don't think, you know, Christians don't think. I mean, nobody thinks that we study these things, man. And that's what's crazy, you know? The reason for this or the reason for that. Why the Most High got this in the Bible? Why the Most High got that? We figure it out, you know. That's what's
God, I'm willing to say on record right here, right now, today, and I've heard from brothers who are into more science and things of that nature, and they will testify to the fact that the Israelites are the most studied movement right now.
That's surprising. That is surprising.
I've been told that.
Okay.
That we're the most well-studied movement to date.
But you can see that though. You know what I'm saying? You can see that. Because a lot of chemist stuff is regurgitated, but that's neither here or there. Let's get back to this.
Gone out of one. So this is the law of circumcision. The science is in the Bible. Let's move forward. Let's go to Genesis. Let's go to Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6. Let's see. Let's start at verse 13.
Okay, come. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 13. And it reads, and the Most High, Yahweh, said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
Read to 15.
Verse 14, make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 100 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the heights of it 30 cubits.
Kind of start right there.
Science.
So the length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the width of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. So that's a ratio of 30 times 5 times 3, right? So we got a little bit of discrepancy when we start adding these cubits and trying to discover exactly what was the length, the width, and the height of the ark, but it's not that great of a difference, right? So the thing about it is, I would, through my math, I got 400 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. That's what my math got me. I may be off. You understand? But what this formula is basically the same exact ratio, the same exact dimensions that when you go into the cargo ships of World War II, they use these exact same dimensions for their cargo ships because the ark was to carry a large amount of cargo. The only difference between the ships of World War II and the ark was there were engines inside of the ships of World War II, but the ark was only designed to float. It wasn't designed for a motor to carry it from a destination from one place to another. It was just supposed to sustain itself through the harsh waters. So the difference in the engines and the ark, that's the only thing that's different. What I would say is I want you to look up Isambard and Brunel and the SS Great Britain. Isambard, Brunel, and the SS Great Britain, and you will see that the dimensions of the ark is the exact same dimension that they use for cargo ships during World War II. And another thing is that the cruise ships of today also use very, very similar dimension to the ark that they build today's recent cruise ships with. So the science is in the Bible. But you know what? I wasn't gonna go here, but I'm just gonna go here because we have a lot of naysayers and scoffers. You know, I know I've run into them within my friends and my family. They try to disprove the authenticity of the Bible by saying, well, even when you add that up, 450 feet long by 70 feet wide by 40 feet, 45 feet tall, it ain't no way that you could put all those animals that we have today inside of this ship.
You gotta think, brother.
You know, I've had people question me and say, well, where were the whales? Where were the sharks? The scriptures say you take the land animals. The whales and the sharks can swim in the water. You don't have to take those. You understand? This is why I'm saying Proverb 1, ye simple ones, how long will you love simplicity?
The despise,
you know what I mean? But
we
kind of don't want. So let's just get into it, man. Let's just give a very, very simple understanding and breakdown of the animals that Noah took onto the ark.
God.
First of all, you got to be a fool to think that he was taking full-grown elephants and rhinoceros onto the ark.
Right.
Now you gotta be, I don't know, man. You gotta be you're not operating on all cylinders for you to even think that he took adult elephants on the ark.
Yeah, man.
Right? But let's just go to the scriptures. We're gonna go one chapter over.
They think Noah was a smart guy. He wasn't a smart guy at all. You know what I mean? He wasn't intelligent. The Most High didn't give him the knowledge. You know what I mean?
So where should we start?
Just go ahead. Do your thing. Wherever you want to go. You breaking up, I don't want.
Time we back.
Okay.
The little.
Yeah, you still got a little delay.
Salak, yeah.
Yeah, you
Common.
watch it.
Common sense is not common. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. You good now?
Can you hear me? Okay, start. Let's go to Genesis 7. I want you to start at verse 13. So we're gonna understand, we're gonna give a breakdown of this Noah and the animals coming into the ark. We're gonna get an understanding real quick.
Count that one. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 7, verse 13. In the self-same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth and sons of Noah and Noah's wife and 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. Verse 14.
Read that.
They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort.
And we're gonna stop right there. So the key word that Sergeant Nawa was accenting is kind. It doesn't say every species. It doesn't say every
Nope.
every type,
Nope.
every breed.
Nope.
It doesn't say that. It says every kind. So what I'm gonna ask,
it makes you laugh a little bit, cuz
you
they
know,
really think
reading,
he had giraffes.
I don't want.
You know what I'm saying? A bunch
That
of
we
giraffes on the earth.
Giraffes and rhinos and grizzly bears and you know what I mean, come on, man.
Hold on.
Come
So
on.
like, and think about it. Don't animals kind of evolve? You know what I'm saying? You don't have every species that you have today, back in the day, right? You don't have every species that you have today, back in the day. You just don't.
Salak, stop right there. Stop right there. I'm gonna say we don't have every breed.
Okay. God.
You understand?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you're right.
But
you're right.
We still got the same kind. You understand?
Right.
So
yeah.
So I want to ask brothers and sisters in the chat, how many kind of people is it? Because we gonna focus on this word kind. So how many kind of people is it? You don't have to, you don't have to be right. We just want to see where the chat is. We want to see what your thoughts are. How many kind of people is it? We're gonna give y'all a couple of minutes to enter it into the chat.
Give them a couple because they delayed a little bit, I think.
I don't want. Salah. I'll be right back.
If anybody got an answer, please put it in the chat room. How many kind of people is it? Is the question. How many kinds? Kind of people. Think about it. You got to think. Use your brain. How many kind of people is it? Not nations, but how many kind? Hey, look at the numbers,
I see. We got, we got Masha Shalom says 18. Michael Williams Shalom, he says 18. Sister Kana says 12. than the other nations. Tahar Musar Sadek says 70. About truth says 2. So any more? Okay. Tahar switched is 70 to 3. Okay. So I'm not gonna prolong it. I'm gonna tell you, there's only one kind of people on the earth.
Another one.
See, what you're getting into is, I'm thinking when I'm looking at Tahar or Tahar Musar Sadek, when he says 3, I'm thinking that what you're alluding to may be what Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Negroid. I'm thinking that's what you're alluding to. I may be wrong, but there's only one kind of human on the earth today, and that's a Homo sapien. Homo sapien is the only type, Salat, not human, only type of people on the earth today is the Homo sapien. So there's one kind of people on the planet Earth. Y'all see that? So when, go ahead, Ken.
I want to interrupt you. I don't want to prolong it. But the fact is that we gotta stop thinking about skin tone, right? Stop thinking about skin tone and this and that, because what he's talking about is how many kind. You got to understand the kind. What is kind? What the word kind is, right? How many kind it is? Like what kind of like a dog? Okay, the species of a dog. How many? What comes out of the dog? What comes out of that one kind? Many things come out of the wolf. All kind of stuff come out of that one kind of species.
God, right. It's one kind. There's only one kind of dog.
Right.
You understand? The kind of dog is a canine. There's only one kind of dog. But out of that one dog, as Nawab was alluding to, you get wolves, foxes, coyotes, pit bulls, poodles,
everything,
Dachshunds,
cats,
mastiffs. You understand what I'm saying? You got a lot of different breeds,
right?
Or a lot of different species that come out of the canine. There's only one kind of dog, and it's a canine. The same as a cat. There's only one kind of cat, which is a feline. Right. You understand? So when it goes into the scripture and it says every cattle of its kind, there's only one kind. You understand? So they only had to have 2 baby calves. They only had to have 2 puppies. But through migration and breeding and travel, you're gonna get a lot of different species.
Flowers.
But there's only one kind.
Trees.
That's it.
Trees come out. So many different trees come out of one tree. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just mutated, you know.
Alpha Omega Clan Chicago, Zelius and Black said, how many kind of men? I'm not sure. Are you talking about species of men? Because when you go into the species of men, according to science, there's 5 different species of men. You know, the species will be the Caucasoid, the Austrazoid, which would be, okay, the Caucasoid would be the Caucasians, which we would know as, or we would label the so-called European and the East Indian as Caucasians. The Austrazoid, we would say that they're the Australians, the Samoans, the Polynesians. Then you would have, I believe they're the Capioid, which would be the native Hamites, the Capioids. Then you would have the Negroid, right? So when you got the Capioid and the Negroid, they're already letting you know that we're not the same people. They describe the Negroid as the inhabitants of southern and southeastern Asia, right? But what we gotta do is we gotta move away from colorism, right? So bring that out. Bring that out, okay?
Okay. If you look at this right here, right? If y'all can see this, right? This is the inheritance of Abraham's inheritance right here, right? Abraham's inheritance. Right? Give me Genesis 2 and 11 right quick. 2 and 11, right? Everybody think that Israel is rat. This all we have is this little section right here. This is what we got. This is it right here. Right? But is Abraham, remember, the Most High said the whole earth is ours. Truthfully. You know what I'm saying? He said the whole earth is ours, but this was his inheritance that it was given to him. That's why we so attached to Egypt, Sudan, okay? All these different areas right here. We so attached to that area because that's spiritual. That's a spiritual thing with us. You know what I mean? So read that for me, Adawan. Give me Genesis 2 and 11 right quick.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 11. The name of the first is Pison. That is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. Verse 12. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. Verse 13. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compassed the whole land of Ethiopia.
We'll start right there. All right. So we got to understand that this whole land right here is our land. This is our land right here. All of this land, because this is Abraham's inheritance. Okay. So we gotta, that's black. You know what I mean? That's so-called black.
Those are the Negroids.
That's the Negroids. You know what I mean? Egypt and all that. That's the Negroid land. You dig?
But you got to keep in mind, the people that are there today are not the original inhabitants of that area.
At all. At all.
That was the land that Abraham, our forefather, was given, that we were kicked out of that land for the disobedience of Abba Yah. That's the area that we're going to go back to. That small little section of the state of Israel that's over there today, where them Turks and them Khazars, where they are today, those Gentiles that are over there trotting down the land, as the scripture would say,
Palestinians
that are fighting over our land.
Right.
Those are not the people. Havilah is Egypt, but you have to understand that area of Egypt was given to Abraham.
Right. Parts of Sudan, parts of Egypt, all of that is our land. We got Pakistan. How can that little old space of Israel hold us? And we are vast people. Mosai says what? What did he say?
He said we're gonna be as the sand of the sea.
Sand of the sea. Right? So how can that little vast, you know what, man, we'll be on top of each other like we're here right now. And guess what we'll be doing? Fighting each other.
Yeah. It'll be the projects. We'll be in the projects all over again, right?
It'll be the projects all over again, man. You know what I'm saying?
That small little section of Israel over there that they're inhabiting today, and they're fighting the Palestinians for right now. No, we have a much greater inheritance than that.
Man, God, all day, man. They don't get that, man. I mean, people think that they fighting over just a little section. You know what I'm saying? Just a little section. They don't understand it. All of that is ours. All of it. We're gonna get it.
That's right.
We're gonna get it.
That's right.
So go ahead, Adawan. My fault. I don't mean to prolong your.
Oh no, man, all praises. We just talking, you know.
Okay,
but when we going back into Genesis 7 and it talks about the kind, that's what we're talking about, the kind. There's only one kind of dog, and then you have thousands and thousands of breeds that come out of that one kind. Just think about our forefather Israel, right?
Aren't you a dog breeder though?
Khan, I breed dogs.
So you understand the logic of that all day long.
Khan, okay. I could breed two dogs, and according to their DNA, I could match up what color dogs that I'll get. You understand what I'm saying? So, but they're still the same. They're still canines.
Okay. Fine.
I could breed two dogs. I could breed a dog with a short nose and breed a dog with another short nose, and I say, okay, I'm gonna get a shorter nose out of this. Do you understand what I'm saying? But okay. They're still the same breed of dog. They could be different colors,
right?
But they're still the same kind. Right. You understand?
Right.
So it's only one kind, just like it's only one kind of people. They're different, just for the sake of, you know, the lack of terms, saying different breeds.
Right.
You understand? Like I said, we were going through it before. You got the Caucasoid. You got the Mongoloid, which we didn't get to. The Mongoloid, which would be Japanese, the Laos, the Chinese. You understand? They're the Mongoloid. That's their race, but there's different breeds within that race. The same way you could take a dog, which originates from a wolf, and you'll get a coyote, a pit bull, a poodle, a shih tzu, but it's all the same kind. So we have the Mongoloid, the Caucasoid, the Capioid, which would be the original Hamite, the Austrozoid, the Polynesians, the Samoans.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the Negroid.
That's right.
So I'm not going to go in that too much longer, but we just want to give you a simple explanation so that you're equipped. If somebody come at you with that foolishness about all of the different animals that had to go on the ark, no, only one kind, a male and a female.
Kind. I mean,
that's
he only
it.
had like what? A couple of things on the ark, right? I mean,
listen from the studies that I've went through, I'm gonna say an exhausted amount would be 1,000 animals on the ark.
On that big old ark.
God. And all babies. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You got bear cubs. You got babies. You don't have the adults. You're not taking the adults.
And they ask you know what else they ask? How did they get along? How did the lion get along with this? And how come he didn't attack? It was a baby.
It's a baby. Y'all get that? So as the name of this lesson goes on, the science is in the Bible, right? So just if you go into the science of the law of continuum, right? You can go. The law of continuum is what? Time, space, and matter.
Matter.
Right?
Right.
Let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. I'm gonna give you the law of continuum in the Bible. Time, space, and matter.
Bring it out.
Read Genesis 1 and verse 1.
God, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning.
In the beginning, that's time.
That's time.
Read on.
Yahweh created the heaven and the earth.
Second thing, the heavens, that's space. the earth. That's matter. That's the law continuum. Science is in the Bible. Stop
Done.
right there. Stop right there. That's all we need. There's a lot of other things that we can go into inside of this Bible where I could show you the science behind it. But we're going to stop right here.
Okay, come.
We're going to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah. And this is AOC Wednesday evening lesson. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I am Ambassador Zion.
I am Ambassador Noah Rakar.
And to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, we're going to say Shalom.
Shalom, everybody.
Y'all ready to go to bed?